Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey folks, good evening. Welcome to you all. Welcome to another episode of Money Space with me, Kalu Aja. On the space, of course, we're talking money, the economy, and finance. We take those topics that you hear about all week, those money topics, and we make it easy, digestible, explain it, so that way we're better investors, better citizens and all that. So, believe it or not, guys, we're going to talk about Amala this evening. Not the food, the business around Amala. I want to basically use Amala as a placeholder for the food business in Nigeria, quick service, restaurants with local ingredients. That's what we want to do today, right? So I have a guest that's going to come and talk to us around how he built his business around Amala. I'm just going to wait for him to pop up, then I'll just invite him over, and then he can sort of like take us through his journey. Again, what we're doing is we're trying to showcase local entrepreneurs, local companies, SMEs, micro SMEs that are doing business in Nigeria, right? With all the issues that we hear about, power, infrastructure, financing. We're trying to showcase those guys. And the idea, of course, is to say what's possible. If you're in Nigeria and it's all doom and gloom, no, there are a few guys there that are making it. 2 weeks ago, we brought in a guy that has a garment factory in Port Harcourt, and is exporting garments from Port Harcourt all the way, exporting them like garments, also supplying the local industry in Nigeria. So we had him on. He shared with us what he was doing, and it was very insightful, to hear someone doing that. We always see this garment factories in Southeast Asia, even in Ethiopia, but I was very glad to see someone in Nigeria doing that. So that was fantastic. So, and I've also said, hey, if you have a concern in Nigeria, you have a factory, an SME, and you're willing to share, all I ask is, are you willing to share? If you are, then of course come on the space and talk to us, because when we talk, we share, we learn together, and then we are able to learn, right? That's the word. So you guys have read the articles. I think it was Chuck Rowdy that was talking about Nigerians talking about making $1 billion or so on food, right? Guys are doing turnover on food and all that. So it's a lot of money, and sometimes we hear those numbers and it looks like it's massive and really can't get onto it. But I think we can. So let me my guest is having difficulty. Let me just give me a second to let him on, to just tell him to log in. Yeah, it's going to be a space. Space is open. Yep. All right, folks. Yep, space is open. Yep. Hop right in. Yeah. So essentially, that's what we want to do today. So I know when I was growing up a long time ago, I was in church one time and the pastor said, people are going to be billionaires selling groundnuts and water and akpu, food, cassava. And back then it sounded really, really strange that you would make a lot of money selling local food. Yes, you could make money selling imported food, but local food, that was where I sort of struggled with that. But now it's happening. We have the combination of the apps, the riders, and what we call ghost kitchens allowing that to happen. You could be in Lagos and you could have, as it were, a factory or a kitchen, a ghost kitchen, which is not branded, but you have lots of cooks in that kitchen. You have the guys in the motorcycles. Folks can order on an app, order Amala on an app. You can deliver to them, and they can feed and they can pay you. It wasn't possible 10 years ago, because how would you get paid? Would you give those guys cash? Would they come back to you? But you see, the combination of having this cashless banking of having the internet and all that have sort of allowed that to happen. So you can see that it's really, really, should we say, you couldn't have done this years ago. So things have got to be in place for us to allow this, should we say, this quick service restaurant that we have now to occur. So thank God for the internet. We can see that when the internet was created, no one knew what was going to be used to order Amala. But today, that's what we're doing. I've got my guest here now, Mr. Salako. Sir, I'm going to have you on mute. Just do a quick introduction. Then I'll take my questions with you. Then, of course, guys, if you have a question that pops up in your head when you hear us speak, request it out via DM or request to ask your question, and I'll get you in. So, Mr. Salako, please unmute. Go ahead and do an introduction, and then we'll take it from there.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mr. Kalu. It's a great pleasure to be here. Yes, so my name is Ife Salako. I am a media practitioner, a businessman, and a new Nigerian politician. I like to introduce myself like that.
Okay.
so that we are clear.
Yeah.
So basically, that's what I do. By God's grace, I'm the managing director for Amala, which I co-founded with my wife in year 2000, right after COVID. In November, we actually launched November 13, 2020, and that was how I started. And yes, so we're here today.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Let me ask you for the first question. What was the idea for the business? Were you guys in the food service business? Were you doing this on a small scale? Why did you guys want to go into Amala? Did you see the numbers from someone else and you felt that's a restaurant business was a good place to invest your money? Why this?
Okay, somebody asked me this question recently, and I said I started selling Amala because of money, and the person was laughing. Okay, but I mean, there are so many factors surrounding this. First of all, I love Amala, so I used to go to anywhere to eat Amala. Once I hear that there is a good place where Amala is being sold and it is good, I would go there to eat. And I was just doing this because I love the food. And so I was in Ibadan, and this was around 2016, 2015, 2016. I was in Ibadan and I went to eat. I was about leaving and I asked for the closest Amala joint around, and they showed me a place. So I went there to eat, and when I was done, I left back to Challenge to board a bus coming to Lagos. So it was a challenge that I found one young guy then who was selling some nice stuff, clothes, shoes, bags, and all. Pretty good stuff. And I said, guy, you're selling this in Ibadan. This is really nice. And he said he was a student in UI, and he bought those things from Lagos and he was selling there and it was good. I said, oh, this is nice. I like your concept. I like your idea. Let me have your phone number. At that moment, that was when I realized that I had actually forgotten my phone at the Amala place where I ate Amala. So I dashed back, I got there, and the woman, the owner, of course, all those Elijah, she was looking at me, I was looking around, I was trying to find my phone. And at some point she asked that, what are you looking for? She said it's in Yoruba, Emilia Anwa. I said, Mungwa phone me. And she said, the subtle insults that is common with, Ibadan people. And, she actually insulted me very well, but then after a while, she dipped her hand in the paint buckets, where they usually put their monies, and she brought out my phone and gave it to me. And I was really grateful. So as I was walking out of the place, I was telling myself that, now wow, I ate Amala in Badon and I forgot my phone. I careful, not because of Amala. If I'm ever going to do this business, I'm going to call it Amala Ibado, because how can you just eat food because of food and you forgot your phone? And so the name was there, the idea was there, but the impetus to start the business didn't come until later on, maybe until like 2018, 2019. Actually I thought of starting the business 2019. And, so the money part, I go to different Amala joints and I see all these women selling this Amala. They are always with wads of cash. They are always counting money. Every joint where they are selling Amala. And I may not know too much about economy, but I know that wherever money passes on a constant basis, then there is some sort of, amount that is being retained. So in my head, I was saying to myself, if these people are counting 100,000 naira every day, no matter the situation, at least 10,000 naira would be theirs, on a daily basis as at then, and I wanted something to do to be fetching me money on a daily basis. Whilst all of this was happening, I was a radio presenter, a radio presenter, and I was also, making movies here and there, being part of movies, here and there. By the way, I studied theatre arts in school at the prestigious Lagos State University, so yeah, and of course I realized that, I have to do something to, start making money. So when I said it was money, some people would be like, yes, yes. But there was a whole lot of ideas. There was the passion behind it. There was the fact that I loved the food. There was a part that, I wanted to do something good for myself. And so it all came together in year 2020. And, I remember when I was going to start out, when I was starting out, I spoke to a couple of friends that I felt they have some capital to put into the business, and they didn't get it. I was saying I wanted to sell Amala, and they were laughing like Amala, Ogweni, they were literally laughing. They were not hiding it. That kind of thing, like, they were making of people behind you. It was to my face, like, guy, you don't know what you're talking about. But we thank God today. It's a good story. It's a very, very good story. I'm not regretting that I started the business.
Fantastic. So let me ask you a question, right? So how much was the initial capital to start off with? How much did you put into this business at the very, very beginning?
So we putting all together from the money we had at the time and the monies we borrowed altogether was about 7 million naira.
What year was this? This was, like you said, 2020, 7 million, 2020.
Yes,
Okay.
2020 it was 7 million. And again, so we started, in just a shop. So it's not a regular small shop. It's like the size of two shops that you have today, the kind of sizes of shops that you have in Nigeria today. So if you put it together, they say two or two and a half of it. That was where we started from. So it was just a big space that we had then. And, so from there, we went into other things. But I mean, the starting capital at that time was just about 7 million. By the way, there's also a small story around the capital. I wanted to buy a Highlander, 2006 Highlander. And my in-law was in the US at the time. And so we talked about the car. So he got one and he sent it to me. And so I sent a deposit of 1 million naira at the time. I think the car was about 2.53 million at the time in Nigeria for the Itokumbo. So I sent him 1 million naira, up front to go get the car. So between the time that he was going to get the car and the time that I was, that he could get there, they sold the particular car that he sent to me. So he was waiting to get another one. It was within that time that I finally decided I was going to start the business, nevertheless. So I called him to send the money back. And he was like, why? I said, I want to start my business. He was laughing.
Interesting.
And at this time, I was driving a Honda. Discussion continued, and it was like, this guy is giving you issue. Let me buy this car now. So I said no. Bring that money back. Eventually, he sent the 1 million naira back. So it was part of what we used
You started.
to start the business. And
Interesting.
I think in less than 1 year, I got the car.
Interesting. You got the money back with the i.e. what you invested.
No, I bought the car in Nigeria in less than 1 year after starting the business. I got the same car in Nigeria.
Gotcha. Okay. So, question for you: that 7 million, what was the split in terms of your own equity and debt? How did you split it up? Was it like 30%? How was the split?
So my own money from it would be about 3 million. Yeah, so that 1 million from the car, we had like a 1 million naira savings somewhere at the time. And I was still working, so I was also making money. I was getting monies here and there. So we put it together. It was just about maybe 3.5 million.
Okay.
And the rest was
debt. Yeah. Did you pay interest on that debt?
No.
Okay.
There were debts from friends, relatives, and all.
So it was like patient capital. They sort of like gave you equity, but they didn't charge you interest.
Nah.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so
I borrowed 500k here. There was 200k. There was a million. Thereabout.
Okay, what was the largest expense for you at that time? So when did you get this 7 million at a go? Like you are saying 5 2. Was it at a go? What was the largest expense then? You say you used to build it.
It was the space.
The space itself, the rental, yeah.
The space.
Okay.
Yes, the rental.
Okay.
The space and setting the space up, for the business at the time. I don't know if you saw the picture that I posted. The 4 years, the 5 year before, and 5 years later.
I think I saw that
because
picture.
Exactly. Yeah. That picture was taken on the very first day we started the business.
Oh.
Yes, that picture was taken.
But you were wearing the apron and all.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Fantastic.
That was what the place looks like when we started.
Okay. So today, how many locations do you have today? Like you started with 7 million, one location, with about 3 million of your own equity. 4 million was debt equity. How many locations do you have now? How would you say are you successful? Give me a margin number. But how many locations do you have now?
So at the moment we have 7 locations.
Wow.
The 8th one is coming up before in the next 3 months. The 8th location is coming up.
All in Ibadan?
Yeah. Okay, so that is the thing. Right now, we don't have any branch in Ibadan.
What? So you started in Ibadan, but there's no location in Ibadan. This is interesting. Take me through.
The idea was gotten from Ibadan. Now, for the name, apart from the fact that I had the personal experience with getting the name, Ibadan is also synonymous to Amala. Ibadan is the right origin of Amala. That is where like the where Amala originated from. So it was a whole lot, and up to date we find people who see our restaurant for the first time like, oh, this is Amala Ibadan. I hope I'm going to get the experience exactly the way it is, in Ibadan. So we hear that a lot, but then it is right now we don't have any branch. We're all in Lagos. Pretty much, in fact, we are mainland based.
Was that shift? Was that a demographic? Was it a spend to go to a particular demographic, or was it a spend to go to a particular cost base? Why Lagos?
Well, so I mean, I was born here. I grew up here, lived all my life here, and of course, got married here. So we've, by the way, my wife is a fashion designer who's been doing well for herself in the fashion industry before we started this business. And so we started a few things around here, around the mainland where I live, and also it was just natural for us to just kick off the business here. And as we began to expand, it also because the expansion too, as I must also mention at this point, is that it also came with some sort of partnership. Right, so we got into some sort of partnership with a grocery store who came into the business, and then we got together, and so it also helped in the rapid expansion of the business. So, and this same grocery store is pretty much around us, so it was easy to go.
Gotcha. How many do you employ today? There's 7 locations. How many folks do you employ today?
We have about 210.
Wow. You employ 210 people with 7 locations just for Amala.
Yeah, so I mean we have approximately 30 people for each store.
Wow.
So yeah, that's the number at the moment. So
In terms, in terms of an ROI, like a percentage ROI, what's your ROI? I.e., I don't know the hard ingredients that go going, but weekly or monthly or annual, what's your ROI or just Amala alone? And again, do you guys just sell Amala, or it's like you sell Amala? If I want to come and buy rice and plantain, will I get that, or it's just
okay?
one?
So we started. Yeah, so we started out with Amala and other swallows. After like a year, we introduced the rice section to it. As a matter of fact, we had a name for it. We wanted to call it Party Jollof, but at the end of the day, the Amala but the brand had actually gone to, it was too strong, so it covers purpose. So we sell the rice, we sell like every other restaurant. It's just that we now do Amala the proper way you would eat Amala in your local restaurant, right? So you have the feel of the home feel of the Amala. Yet you can still we have the jollof rice, we have the fried rice, we have the special rice, we have the special fried rice, we have we have, like, I think at the moment we have about 6 or 7 varieties of rice. We have varieties of spaghetti, we have yam, we have yamarita, we have yam and egg, we have we have a father, we have rice and beans. So it's a complete. Now it's actually like a complete restaurant.
Perfect. What's the
and in terms of the
margin?
ROI, so yes, I hope I say this now without sounding apolitical. But then I would say it the way it is. When we started out, our ROI was pretty much about 40%. On
That's tidy.
On a monthly basis. But right now, we're seriously struggling between 20, 25.
That's still tidy. But why has it come down? Has the expense gone up or has revenue gone down? What is it? I know it can be two of them, but
expense. In fact, I had like a mini management meeting yesterday, and I was just what we call parrying. I was just parrying. I was just shouting that I was furious because the expenses is crazy, and of course we all know what's been happening in the country with all the crazy policies here and there. It's been stifling businesses. And so when I come on Twitter and I'm shouting and I'm, people will think, oh, it's not because you're eating, you're okay. Some people will tell me, oh, you're opening restaurants, you're opening branches, and you're saying that the government is bad. I was like, you guys don't understand anything about business, right? I'm seeing the money. So if I'm making, for example, 400 naira, 4 years ago, I'm making just about 250, and the overheads keep increasing, and I'm making 200. I'm making less, and I'm spending more. So it's just not helping at all. But we're still struggling.
Gotcha. So let me just ask you more or less in terms of I want to go back to demographics. I have a few DMs already. I want people to ask their question and all that. Okay, so if you had to do this again, now if you had to go back and do this again, would you do anything differently? Would you spend money differently? Is there anything you have picked up now that if you took back to 2020 in Ibadan, you'd have done different? Is there anything that comes to your mind?
Yeah, a couple. So we started out because of the way we started out. I just wanted to do the business and let it have the original feel of what Amala is known for. So we started out, pretty much doing everything manually, taking records manually, and all, you know.
Yeah, I can still hear you.
So yeah, so not until we got yeah, not until we got to a point and then we had to realize that look, we have to go digital. We have to introduce the normal machines for taking records and all the systems to take records and all. So first of all, if I have to do anything differently, I would make sure I start, doing going digital all the way from inception.
From inception.
That's one. And secondly, if I also have to do differently, maybe I would have actually, pressed more and invested more, even from the beginning. Maybe I would have started like 3 stores at the go.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, let me get a few guys to speak. Guys, again, DMs are open, requests are open. I have more questions, but I want to get you guys in. And let me get Akin Horla. Akin Horla, how you doing? Thanks for being here. We're talking on business of Amala. You've heard Ife talk about his business, how he started, what he's doing so far. What's your question for him? Akin just dropped off. Let me get Olayinka. Olayinka, how you doing? Hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Please go ahead.
Okay, just a minute to use my headset.
No worries.
All right, cool. So yeah, good to be here. The Amala thing is always fascinating, right?
Yeah, it is.
Everything Mr. Ifesalako said. Even though I don't have the business, I was part of that experience because I schooled in Ibadan as well. I went to the Polytechnic Ibadan. And there is this Amala junction right there at the Songo bus stop. There's one woman there that sells Amala. The way people troop in every day will make you want to start a business without even doing your own research. Because like you said, once you go in, everything you see them doing is counting money. Counting money. That's what they do. But I have a question for Mr. Ife Salako because I used to have a girlfriend back then in Lagos. The mom also sells Amala at the Apapa, where these fuel tankers are. She sells Amala there. But there is something challenging about that business. I want to ask you if you have experienced the same thing, which is sincerity of your workers. Because I know back then with this woman, they do sell a lot because they sell close to these oil tankers and the rest. They spend money eating Amala every day. But the problem has always been the sincerity of the workers. We don't have a system like we do here abroad where most of the sales you make goes directly into the cash and is locked. You only unlock it when you need to give someone a change. So how do you cope with people that works with you that when you make sales, do they give all that they do? Like you make sales of 10,000, do they render all the money to you? Is there anyhow you make a record of what comes in for the day? And do you actually pay attention to your workers, like searching them when they come in, searching them when they go to make sure they are not going with your money?
That's a great question. I mean, just operationally, Mr. Ife, how do you run this? You have 7 locations, people paying cash. How do you know the bag of rice gets converted to plates of rice and gets converted to cash in the bank? How do you do it?
Okay, so like I said, when we started out, it was all manual. We were taking records manually, and then at some point, one day, I asked myself that, how do I even know if I'm making profit here or not? So I needed to do something. So what did I start with? I started with something I called um, 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 taking records of like what is being bought and as against what is being sold. So there is a name I gave it. I'm trying to remember now. Then so daily sales. the daily sales. That's not the name, but I'll get there. So what I did then was that I found a way to record everything that is being produced from the kitchen. So the kitchen takes record of what they produce. One at different days. So we have a cooler where we put the amala, and that is being brought out from the kitchen, so it can retain its temperature and all. So at different times we did a counting of that cooler, and as at the time we realized that we're getting about 250 scoops approximately. Some were like 256, some would be like 260, some would be like, so but we based it at 250. It cannot be less than 250. That is one. So we know that if we bring a cooler of amala out, we are expecting, if at the time when we're selling for 100 naira, you can do the maths, 100 times 250. So we're expecting that. So I know expected sales, yes, that is what I was looking for. So we had the meeting. I said, look, we're going to be having expected sales. So our expected sales for the day from this cooler of amala in this particular one is 250. So I know that if they bring out 4 coolers of amala from the kitchen in one day, I know that I have sold 1,000 amala. So the kitchen have their record of keeping, we have brought out 1 cooler of amala. If the cooler of amala is halfway, if it's not full, they record it as half. So I know I'm expecting 125 scoops. And of course, for things that are, every other thing is actually countable. The eba is being wrapped, the semo is being wrapped, the meat can be counted. In fact, it is counted from when it is brought in. So for example, we bought 200 pieces of meat. It is counted from the people that delivered the 200 pieces of meat. And that's the work of the storekeeper, records it, hands it over to the kitchen guys. The kitchen guys takes it. So here is another thing. The kitchen guy may not take the 200 at a go. So there is a record from the storekeeper, saying that he or she released 100, pieces of meat to the kitchen guys. The kitchen guy cooks these 100 pieces of meat, sends it to the restaurant, sends it out, and record that he sent 100 pieces of meat out. So I know that, it is 2 coolers of amala that is being sold today, 100 pieces of meat, 200 eba, 100 semo, 100 palo yam, 100 this, 100 that. And even to the rice, it is being counted as scoops, right? So we already know that if we're cooking, for example, a jerika of rice, we already know, we have done the calculation from the back end to know that 1 jerika of rice is going to produce a XYZ amount of scoops. So when it is being recorded, we are expecting that the sales, is bringing back XYZ amount of food, of sales, money rather, that is being sold for, the products for. So these are the back end, checks and balances that we have done. But at the front, like I said earlier, when we migrated, in fact, there was a time when we were still doing that manual thing. There was a time that our expected sales to our real sales, like the amount we got on a particular day, was short of 100,000 naira. So then, even as we have the expected sales, we know that this is what we're expecting. They still found a way to, steal money, but then that's one. So when we now came to the digital part, when every food bought in our restaurant now is being receipted, your amala is being receipted, your semo, everything is on the system. So if you are the one handling the system today, and you're because everything you punch there is showing on the system, and it is a law, it is a standing law that you must actually complete every transaction and print a receipt, because if they don't print the receipt, they can punch the food in, pam, 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 pam. But if they don't print the receipt, that transaction may hang on the system. And if that transaction is 5,000 naira, the cashier knows in his or her house that, okay, 5,000 is hanging, but he or she has collected the money. So at the end of the day, he or she could find a way to, take that 5,000 naira to himself or herself. But it is a standing rule, and they are being supervised to make sure that they receive every food, whether the customer wants to receive or not. You must receive it. It is a sackable offense for you not to receive any meal that is being sold. So these are the levels that we have put in place, to make sure that, and we can see the difference, between the time that we were actually manual to the time that we switched to, being digital and then using, the system to input all of our sales. So these are the things that we could do. Nevertheless, human, situation will still come in one way or the other, but we are actually copying into the barest minimum.
I think honestly, if we could record what you just said and maybe transcribe it and then share it out, that's just free MBA class you've given. This is exactly, no, I tell you, this is exactly how the large corporations run multinational billion-dollar procurement processes. You have to register everything in the warehouse. When it's released, that's cost accounting. It's recorded as a cost. It goes to the next stage. The next stage opens their books. They close their books. They pass on the finished product to the next cycle. Who records revenues, records that as cost, moves it out again till it gets to the consumer. This is exactly how you do it. Exactly. You record, you measure, you issue the receipts exactly as it is described in your own language. So I just hope if you run an SME, what he has described is how you should start. Like I always tell people, the first person you hire when you start an SME is your accountant, not your marketer, the accountant is the first person you hire. If possible, show him your plan, and he will tell you, okay, sir, based on this plan, this is how we're going to do internal controls to ensure that your plan is going to be right as you put it. So, thanks for that answer. Olanika's hand is up. Olanika, you have a follow up?
Yeah, one quick question. Thank you so much for that detailed explanation. So I just want to keep this in, and I would allow other people to talk. When it comes to labor in Nigeria, we know how people are being treated very unfairly. For most of us who stay abroad, we know majorly it's hourly base, but that's not been done right now in Nigeria. I know during the last election, the only person who had this as part of his manifesto was Peter Obi, saying they will bring this option of workers being paid hourly. So when it comes to restaurant business, I know most of the time, based on my experience with my former girlfriend, right, the mom will wake up as early as 5 a.m. because she stays in the Ojo, close to Lasso side, and she sells Amala in a papa right there in Marine Beach. So she wake up from 5 a.m. to make sure she starts business by 8. And before she get there are people already at the store cooking and doing stuff. And these people would leave almost at 8 at night, making it a 12-hour job, right? So in your own case, with all these branches you have, I know you're coming into politics, you get there very soon. How do you manage your workers? Like, do you have some people who come in from 8 and then leave by 4, and then some other people come in at 4 and leave by 8? Because thinking about how you would work from morning till night, how do you handle this, if you understand what I'm saying?
Okay, so because we learned on the job, we actually started out paying, our staff. Everybody was working actually 6 days a week, and then we're not opening on Sundays. But eventually, when we got into some partnerships, it becomes, important for us to open on Sundays. And then we had a meeting with all of our staffs, and we said, okay, we are expanding. We treat it open to them. This is the amounts that we are paying at the moment, right? By the way, we try to pay around or above the minimum wage of Nigeria. So for the least person that is working with us. So we're saying that, okay, this is what it is right now. And we needed to, expand and get more hands. Should we get more people and then cut the work into like half day? But what that would mean is that we might need to probably reduce the salary a bit so we can then add more to it to employ other people, or we increase your salaries by 40%, everybody across board, 40%, and change the number of days to 3 working days, 1 off. 3 working days, 1 off. Guess what? They all went for the second option. It was something that everybody, went for. Yes. So right now that's what we're doing. We have 3 days, 3 working days, 1 day off, because we know also that the work is very stressful. By the way, I grew up around a job, up until before I got into university. So I know all that corridor very well, all the way from Ojo straight to Apapa. I know that corridor very well. So, that's just my side. And so, back to the matter. We, operate that, and we see that, it's also helping. And of course, we try to also feed them twice a day, free of charge. And, there's also leave, that they get, here and there. So, and there is always some sort of assistance and allowance, health, and all. So, these are the things. But in terms of the job, for my restaurant, everybody works 3 days on, 1 day off. As a matter of fact, recently we were trying to see if we can push it to 2 days on and 1 day off, but that's not is not completed yet, because we then need to employ more people.
Yeah, great question on minimum wage, but I like the answer. Just to give you an insight, Amazon does 4 days on, 3 days off, so it's 4 and 3 that they do. So you're on the right spot. Yeah, I've got L. Anytime, is that Anytime Lagos? Yeah. Olaika, thanks. Yeah, you got the floor. Anita, the batch is
Can I ask Mr. Salako a question before?
Please go ahead.
So we got some intel that actually some of your workers that they don't get the minimum wage, the 70,000 minimum wage that's been signed into law by the
hello, sir. Hello.
So there's some of them that in.
Hello. I beg you. It's just me begging you. Let's just do the SME. I want folks that are listening here to talk about what they can pick if you want to start a business in Nigeria. I want you
to be able to challenge whatever information.
But I want you to focus. No. I want you to focus. I want you to focus. I want you to focus. I don't ask a question that will make others to learn. I don't want to go there. Let's get.
Go away, but I'm just challenging everything that you just said. Where am I going?
Let me get.
What exactly are you diving at?
I just don't want that. If I gave the caveat that first, as a political guy, I get that, but I just want to focus. We do this space every week, and we try to keep it on money, politics, economy. Please, guys, I get it, but he's just here to talk about Amala. And I have tons of DM. People love this topic we're having. Lots of folks want to do this. So it's a way for them to pick 1 or 2 things. I hear you. I just beg you. I'm just begging. Yeah.
Kalu.
Yes.
Please, sorry. Let me say this. I said clearly that we try to pay around the minimum wage. So here is the thing. There's nothing hidden about where you are. I know where it's going, and I would address it directly. Right? So before, the minimum wage was how much? 30,000 naira. We were paying 40,000. When Tinubu came in and the whole economy was upside down, right? And we had to have this meeting and everything. Right now, the least person paid at the store is 60,000, and that is maybe you are washing dish or you are cleaning up and all. There are people that are earning 100, 150. There are people that are earning 250k. There are more. There is someone that is earning 500k per month in my company. So if you want to hear it, you can go back to wherever you verified those from and come back to also verify again. I'm not that person that you want to come here and be talking rubbish to.
I just want us to keep Lots of folks like this topic, and lots of folks are picking good points. This is not Amala. This is food. We just use Amala as the. But lots of folks in this time want to start a business, and food is a non-discretionary expense. You can't lose money with a business around food. So this is a very, very important space for folks that are listening in, and I'm getting the DMs. People want to hear practical answers. He's done it. He's got 7 stores, so he can share 1 or 2 things that we can pick from. So I'll just keep it there, right? Ikena, how you doing? Ikena, any quick. Please go ahead, Ikena.
Yes. Good evening, Mr. Kalu.
How you doing, sir?
Fine, thank you. Good evening, Mr. Salako. I hope you have a question. I have a very important question. Ledger accounting for an SME going into food business. Not at the large scale, at the minimum scale. Is that an overkill?
Could you explain more? What do you mean? But everything is just ledger account. Are you saying with the software? What does that mean? Because everyone does ledger account. A single entry. Are you saying double entry? Where are you coming from?
Double entry ledger account. Specifically.
Yeah.
It's an overkill.
Man.
A business that is just starting.
Honestly speaking, sir, you know what I said? I'm just going to answer, if I can answer. When you start your business, assume you're already big. Don't start that you are small and then when you get big, you change. No. Do the double entry from when you start. That's why I said the first person you hire is your accountant. If you can't afford the accountant, let me tell you what you do. Go to any college of education, all these schools here around. The HND, go to their class, ask them for the best accountant in that class, the student. Bring him to your place. Every week he can come, or every month he can come, or every day he can come. He's a student. You will pay him minimum wage. He will do your books for you. You just get what I'm saying? But don't ever do this. I will run it on a shoestring budget because I don't have the money. That accounting, operations, systems part of your business is very important. You can't scale into greatness. You have to start greatness when you start. Let Mr. Ife answer, but that's just my to you, Ikena. Yeah, Mr. Ife, he asked a great question. Really, when do you start to quote unquote be big? When you are starting? Oh yeah.
Right. So, like I said, when we started out, accounting was the least thing we paid attention to. Our error, our mistake, and I said again that if I was going to start, if I was going to correct anything like Kalu did ask. I'm going to make sure that that is corrected from get-go because it actually cost us a lot, getting on with the business, So, but when we got to the point that, it was like the first 6 months of the business, we didn't know what we were doing. This is not something that I have done before. Anyone has done before. So, but eventually I realized that. So we started out, the first day we killed a goat, known as Ogufe. And before you know it, I think the first day we were not ready until like 11 a.m. We had done our promotions, everybody was looking forward to the place and people came. And before you know it, between 11 and around 3 p.m., the Ogufe was gone. I had to rush to the market to go and buy another one. And so it started out like that. We're buying 2, it was going, and then it became 3, and it became 4. And at the point, it got to like 7 goats a day. Now, this is where the whole thing is. So within this period of these 6 months, the business was growing. We sold, maybe we bought a what's it called now? A bag of Amala yesterday. And we used it for like 3 days. But we had realized that this Amala, we cannot buy one again. We have to go and buy 2. Now, the profits of that Amala has gone back into the purchase of buying more Amala. And so we're not seeing money, but business was growing. It was later on that I realized that it was pretty much like the money that we're just turning over money and returning it back into the business until we got to a point where we actually got stabilized and then we started seeing the books and all. But then if I have to go all over this again, we will start proper bookkeeping from get-go, even before we started, just like Carlo has advised.
All right, thank you very much. I have one more question.
Real quick, I want to rotate the room real quick.
Okay.
Go ahead, real quick.
All right. How are you able to manage change management? Because I mean, you said you didn't start with the normal or with the system, the software handling your accounting processes, which means you had some leakages. So when you now moved into using the system, what happened to the previous records? How were you able to balance that so that you are able to maintain financial integrity or accounting integrity for your business after maybe a period?
So what we did was, because we were keeping our books, we had to first of all digitalize the records that we have had in the past. And so when this, new era of digitalization got into the business, we were able to compare and able to see, what we were doing, better before and what was, not doing well now, or what we're not doing well before and what is getting better now. So the first thing was for us to digitalize the records that we had before, and we've been growing from there. And of course, up to now, we try to train, both the upfront staff and the management staff on how to improve on all of these things. Constant training. As a matter of fact, I see at the meeting with some human what's it called, HR, human relations guys today, and just to also improve on some of the trainings that we're getting to also keep the records straight.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you very much, Mr. Carlo.
Those are great questions. Very, very great practical questions. Let's get pro. Let me just real quick. Anytime you're able to speak, anytime Lagos are you able to speak. Okay.
I'm here.
Anita, go ahead. Yeah, great. Yeah, go for it.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Kalu. Thank you, Mr. Ife Salako. So this is really not a question, but it's just someone that was born into the business. If anybody remember Amala from Mokola Waja History, the main OG, the granddaughter, so I was born there. So I literally know the business as I was born.
Nice.
And one of the things that I have seen is the business is kind of shaking right now because it's run by my aunt. The main brain behind the business, which is my grandma, is dead. So one of the loopholes that I see, along the line before I moved to Nigeria, I was like, if I ever moved to Nigeria, I would take over the business. But when I saw the struggles that came with the business, and I see how other people have managed it, like Mr. Ife Salako, as account keeping. My grandmother never kept account. We saw the money come in. We were having Kano one core eat in our house every time the soccer in the stadium. We were having Siasia come in. So we were seeing the money, but we just didn't know where the money was going to. We didn't know. So I'm proud that we have things like, account keeping. I'm really proud how, Mr. Ife Salako has taken it. My question, however, tonight is to say, what is the plan? In your head when you sleep, Mr. Ife Salako, do you think one of your children will be interested in the business later? Because no matter whatever you're building, anybody that knows Amala right now should go, that knows it before, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, should go look what has become of it right now. When the main brain of the business has left, I hope you have put enough there's enough growth out there where you're thinking about who's going to take over this business. So do you have that? Are you thinking about that when you go to bed every night? Because I know my kids are not going to take over Amala business, and that's why I refrain from going into it. My kids were born in America. They've never been to Nigeria before. They're never going to do it. So I just thought about it when I saw how the business was going. My aunts are running it down, and I'm like, you know what? My kids are never gonna go take over this business. Why do I? I'm at that age. I'm gonna turn 40 tomorrow. I'm at that age where I'm thinking, if my kids are never gonna touch this business, there's no need for me to touch it.
And listen, you're asking a question about succession plan, and if it's gonna answer.
Yes.
But let me just say this, right? If you were, and just hear me out, if you were American and your family brought McDonald's, do you know the kind of brand equity you just have in it? That you can say that your grandma started this business. Do you know you can actually give out certificates? You can have the Michelin licensing. You can actually own a company that's going to go on Amala factories in Nigeria and say,
and that's why I
we
put it
give
out
them
there.
there.
Amala from
That,
Okola.
but
Anybody in the life that knows that Amala.
you should be doing that because you have the credentials, like you have the DNA. No, think about it, Anita. Because if someone comes and his grandfather was Ray Koch that started McDonald's, he can go and say, I want to score.
I get it. There's nothing I don't know about the business. When I first moved to Nigeria, May 30, 2 years ago, I thought I was going to do it. But when I saw how staff retention was, that shook me to my core. I have a farm in Ekpe at Temo Junction, over 6 acres. I did suffer. I did suffer on a daily basis. I have a cattle ranch. I have a snail farm. I have a pig farm. 3 of them, livestock. I did suffer.
In Nigeria here.
In Nigeria here. I just suffer steady. So I know what it takes, for, and again, one of the things that killed my grandma's business is the people that really, when I was growing up, when I was a baby, there were people that, they were already in their 60s. So imagine what age they are now. So not a lot of people want to do this dirty business like they put it. The women that could put their head down and put in their best, that were dedicated, they will bring their aunties from Ibadan, from Oyo, from Isenyi. Nobody's doing that right now.
That's it. I mean, if she's saying suction plant, she's also saying the processing, because the way they make burgers in 1960 and today is different. There are some burgers in America that are now made by robots. She's asking you, these are two great nuclear questions.
Where I'm going to.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
When we were in the talks of going to open another store, somebody said to me that, oh, okay, yeah, so you are going to open another store. Okay, that means your wife will be there, you will be here. And I was like, hello. So if I open the third store, my son was about 8 then. So I said, oh, would Kinsha go and be the person to be there because of what? And because, from get-go, I had the vision of expanding this business. So my store, before we opened the next store, I made sure that the business was already existing and, sustaining without my direct intervention. And because I was conscious of this, I started to design, the business in a way that it can just run without my, direct intervention. I come in to look at this, look at that, and all. And so it was a different.
But how did you run that place to operate without you being there? And any tips, 1 or 2 tips you can give to a guy that has the same business in, say, Aba or Kaduna, that can run in Nigerian parlance without you being there? What did you do?
Okay, so again, it was just the basics. Like I said, it was the basics. It was me knowing. Okay, first of all, let me say, I was the one that served people on the day we opened, though. You see that apron? I wore it for like 3 months, serving people at that place. I was the one going to Alaba to buy goats myself. I would drive my Honda to Alaba to Lasso. I would park inside Lasso, walk straight to Alaba, Rago, buy the goats, drag them to Lasso, put them in my booth, drive out of Lasso, and come to the store. So I knew these things. I knew the prices. At some point I went to Ibadan to buy, the what is called Bodo, and so I knew I grew with the process. I understand the process. So, and because I was able to now put some measures, even if it was manual at the time, in place, I could tell when my money is missing. I could tell who I would hold responsible for my money. Because I know, like I said, I don't know the financial terms for it, but I created what I called expected sales. And I was heavy on it. Every day at the end of the day, I come, I check from kitchen to the store, and then to my expected sales. And I must also say that there are days that I had surplus sales. Like, so the expected sales is supposed to be 100,000, and then we are having 110,000, sometimes 105. There are days that it will be like 98, 90s. So I understand this thing, but like I said, the whole idea of stealing and all was actually cut to the barest minimum.
It's
You know, so that's like I said, I don't see the basics.
Yeah.
And to the issue of succession, I remember that myself and my wife and the children were in the car, and my first son, he seems to, he likes cooking, he likes food naturally, and so he said, um, he said when he grows up, he's going to have two restaurants, and the mom was like, two restaurants, which and which? He said my own and Amala. I was like, okay. So, one way or the other, we bring them into the business. There was a time they were on holidays, and we took them to the stock to go and pack plates, and we were trying to let them understand and feel the business and see that this thing, don't see it as a dirty thing. If you're traveling anywhere in the world today, if you're going on holidays anywhere, if you're attending, the best schools around here today, it is from this place that the money is coming from. So I'm trying to let them understand it. But at the same time, they are still children. Children will tell you they want to become doctor, whatever, lawyer today. But when they grow in life will always, find a way to fine-tune their journey. I am not really particular about my children taking over the business. I am particular about the business succeeding me and becoming something that will become a brand that people can run with. Of course, the family will always be there. They will always own the share. God's willing, if my son, the way he's going now, keeps the momentum and continue with it, is literally going to be the successor and take over the business. It is this is just what anybody can wish for, to see, to have a family, a generation after you that will take over the business and grow it and keep growing it till it gets to. But of course, if we get to that time, they are not willing to. That is why I believe there is that thing called shares. We will sell the shares and we will just be hopeful that the people that will be in charge of it will keep the dream and sustain it. But the difference is that it is not just going to be one person making a decision. It is going to be something that will be bigger than us, just like other conglomerates, and that is my vision anyway.
Well, interesting, and I thank you, Tony. That was a great insight. Let me get It's Prozid. It's Prozid. Did I get it right? ProZIID trademark. Is that you? All right.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Go
Proceed.
ahead. Yeah.
Can you hear me
Proceed.
clearly?
I can hear you. So go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Carlo. Thank you, Ife. This has been a wonderful listen. Okay, so I was wondering, you're talking about how you measure your output from scoops and all that. And I went to ShopRite the other day and I bought food, and the way it was sold, they were selling it by weight, And thinking about it, I think that's like that's the most efficient way of costing whatever you're selling, based on weight. So if they say 5 kg is, we want to sell 5 kg of chicken, and 5 kg is what, 5,000 naira, If you take your 0.4 kg from the whole bucket of chicken, you pay this amount of money, I think that's a very beautiful scale of measuring costing and all that. So I'm wondering what your take is, and if you use this method in selling your food, or which method you think is superior to the other. Thanks.
Good question.
Well, weighing of food is the best, so let's not deceive ourselves, but it's also about the model that works also for the business. It can work for, that the target audience for ShopRite restaurant, right? You see, our restaurant attracts. We have seen MDs of companies come to eat our restaurant. Mechanics will still come to eat at our restaurant. So we have a very large demography, and you also want to find a way to create a balance and accommodate this person and accommodate that person. So there is a way you change a particular system and then it just flops everything. So we try to keep it as original as possible. And so far, our way of counting and measuring, not weighing, has been working for us so far. And why break the system?
If it ain't broke, why fix it, right?
Why?
Before the next question comes in, let me ask you what you serve. These are all Nigerian grown products, right? Is there anything in your that is imported? I mean, Amala do you guys import any food item you sell there?
If I don't think so, but why you ask the? I think if there is anything that is imported in our restaurant, I think it would be, I think maybe, what's this rice called? This long rice.
Long grain.
Yeah, the long grain rice. What's it called?
Uncle Ben.
Basmati. Thank you. God bless you. So basmati. If we actually buy anything that is imported, maybe basmati rice. Aside that, everything is Nigerian made.
Gotcha. Let's take name cannot be blank. Name can in fact be blank. Oh, sorry. Go for it. Sir.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I have 3 questions. One of which has been touched on a little, but I'll still ask either way. So, my first question is, what software do you use as regards the customer relationship management? That is the printout and taking orders. Then my second question is, how does management across the branches look like right now? Like, what's the chain of command and whatnot? How do you ensure that the experience I have in this branch is the same with the experience I have in the other branch? Then my last question is, how do you guys handle supply chain now? Because I know last time you said earlier on, you know the cost of things. At least you know how much to expect in market. So if someone goes, you'll be able to tell if you are being cheated. But now that you're maybe a bit no longer that is involved so much, how do you tell? How do you handle it? Are you guys giving out contracts and whatnot? Thank you.
Name cannot be blank. Are you an MBA student anywhere? Just checking.
No, I have a very, very little SME, and then we are looking to expand.
Gotcha.
So
those are fantastic questions. That's what I was asking. Fantastic questions. I hope Ife can come in. If you have she's asking about the software, your CRM, or just any software you use, even just the front facing, back facing, any stock management software. Of course, number 2, how do you manage those branches? Do you have a COO and all that? Then supply chain. So yeah, the floor is yours, sir.
Okay, so unfortunately, I don't know the name of the software. So unfortunately I don't know. I don't want to be. If I say anything like they like, I don't know how to teach myself. I don't know the name of the software, but maybe I would. As you were asking, I was texting my GM to see if he can send it to me. If he does, I'll let you know. Before he did ended. But then, so I'll go from there. I'll go to the supply processing. So what we did at some points was that I applied something that I called divider rule. So I hope you're hearing me.
I can hear you.
Yes, I am. Yes,
Okay,
I am.
yeah. So I applied something like a taxes I call divider rule. So what do I mean by that? Let me backtrack a bit and then I'll come back to this. So let me talk about the structure so you understand why I employed that taxes. So for each branch we have a manager, we have 3 supervisors, we have a storekeeper, and we have the senior cook, and we have the head of the front the customers engagement side, and of course we have the other staffs, the kitchen guys, and of course so. But basically, between the manager, the supervisors, the three of them, the storekeeper, they make the decisions on making sure their priority is to make sure they have um, and then of course the accountants, you know. So between all of these people, their priority is to make sure they buy things at the cheapest rate. So at the end of the month, we come together for each stores, and then we check. Sometimes not at the end. Sometimes I get to see it before the end of the month. So if you are buying, because we are selling the same thing across the stores, but you can buy anywhere. If you like, go and buy in. If you like, just make sure that you are buying the cheapest thing, because we are going to come back to the table. So if your sale at the end of the month, for example, is ₦1,000,000, store A million naira, store B ₦1,000,000 naira, that's your sales. So store A, for example, if your expenses, your total expenses, if it is say 700, you store B cannot tell me that your total expenses for the same sales that you made in a month is 900. So that way, and everybody knows that, look, this is what it is. We're going to come and check, at different times. We have a weekly review, of what you are doing from one point to the other for each of the stores. We can see that, you are saying that you bought a chicken for 200,000, but somebody is buying the chicken here. We can see it here for 150. Why are you going to where it is 200? If you cannot ask the person that is selling for 150, if you say you are buying a keg of palm oil for 50,000, but there is somebody here that is buying for 40,000, why are you buying for 50? So that way, we're able to kind of like create a balance, and that is what I meant by the divide and rule, But at some point, we got to realize that even at that, there are still some loopholes here and there. So what we're doing presently, as a matter of fact, we now have a warehouse where we buy things in bulk, and then from there, because we already know all the stores, their sales they are regular. In fact, that is one of the most marvelous thing about doing business that I've seen. Each of these stores make a particular amount of sales per day. And guess what? It is not the same set of people that are coming every day. But a store, for example, that is making maybe 500K in a day, it will sell 500K. It cannot do 540, 560. Or maybe the day the market will come, for example, now do 600. But on a regular, you will find that store is around 500 or 500 or something. You get. So we already know that is the capacity of the store, and we already know what you have been buying, and so we can supply that to you. And of course, because we're not buying in bulk, it is a lot cheaper, and it makes it easier for us to also find a way to make more profit. So that is what it is about the supply that we're able to do now to keep it going. But again, aside the going back to the management structure, outside the managers, supervisors, accountant, and the storekeeper for each of the stores, we also still have we have a general accountant, we have the HR, we have we even have regional managers. We have two regional managers. One is managing 4 stores, another one is managing 3 stores, and of course we have a GM who is kind of like overseeing, all of this.
So just to be clear, so the stores buy themselves, or it's central purchase? How do you ensure if it's cheaper, say in Ikeja?
Now we're transitioning, like I said, right now we're transitioning into buying in bulk and then supplying to them. But right now they still the other products.
Gotcha. Name cannot be. Were your questions answered? Did you have any
Yes, yes.
follow up? Perfect. Okay.
No, 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 no.
Excellent. I wish you success in your smaller SME. Come back and talk to us when you want, right?
I'm here.
I
I'm
will.
here.
Thank
Gotcha. All right. I've got Daddy. Daddy, you've got the floor, sir. Daddy J.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, good evening to you. Yeah, this is actually a very interesting topic because my wife has been disturbing me about starting a restaurant for over 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So we own schools in Ajaxis, and my concern is the stress of running a restaurant because several times I've told her that running a school, or even two or three, is quite stressful, not to talk of adding the restaurants to the list. So for long, I've been discouraging her from starting. But from the model I listen to now, though I know every business at the beginning, like you said, he was really involved. He wore the apron and all of that. I actually understand because when we started to, we went through the same stage. Of course, we were in class and all of that before we gradually withdrew from all of those activities. So mine is more of a comment, but I just want to appreciate your coming to present this because I can have a think about my wife aspiration of running a restaurant. Thank you.
And I was going to say, let me just ask if I do internship, are there executive internship? If I want to learn how to start a business, can I come and wear apron with you guys for 3 months and learn? Is that something you guys do or something you consider? I'm not sure if I heard me. Can you hear if speaking? If
No, I can't hear you.
Yeah. Ooh, he's dropped off. Yeah, he's dropped off. Yeah. Yeah, fantastic. Let me just add him back in again. Yeah, he dropped it. I'll just add it back. Yeah, great conversations. You can, Daddy, don't run away. Daddy, if you already have a school, you already have the location now, right? So even if it's to to do school for the kids, that's already a start for your wife right there. Why can't you just do?
Yeah, I can hear you. She does, of course, for the kids. Well, you see, my wife's idea of owning a restaurant is actually a big one. So it's not something small she's considering. And what I've been kind of discouraging it. I must be sincere. I've been discouraging it for like 4 or 5 years now. Why I've been doing that is because of the stress. Business is quite stressful. That is not the truth. Even when you're not physically involved, mentally, business is stressful because you have a lot of things to think about, a lot of things to sort, and all of that. So, I have been discouraged because I felt we should just handle things that we can handle. When in the school, it's a lot of stress because attending to parents, the daily expectations, and all of that. So, adding a restaurant to it. I mean, we just be but from what I listen to, from what he has told, what he has just said about his own model. I think I can actually reconsider. And that's just mine. Thank you.
Let's hear him. He's back now. If I'm not sure how much you heard about what Daddy was saying and all that, but yeah.
Yes, I heard him. I'm personally going to encourage anybody who wants to do this business to go into it because you're not going to regret it. You're talking about stress. Well, you would. There is nothing that won't start out with some level of challenges here and there and commitments. But then in the long run, you would enjoy it. My wife is at the moment is in the US, so the business is going. The business will not die. It will keep going, right? But I'm saying that if you really, if it's something that your wife wants to do, but there is also something else. So my wife too wanted us to start out really big. I chose the process of growing in the business. And women, when they want to do something like this, they want that they would paint, the paradise that is not, their hands may not get to touch in the nearest future. But there are ways you can actually start the business, have the best of look, the best of feel, and the best of products without necessarily. See, let me tell you something now. Let me say this here now on this space. I can beat my chest that some of our stores are doing way better daily than a couple of known brands that that are running restaurant businesses. I know that one for sure, right? So there are some of these places that they've actually put so much into the business. They've concentrated more on, the unnecessary part of the business and not focusing on So here is the thing. We started out our business, 5 years ago, and then we were growing. We started from a small shop. Eventually, we found out there is a space behind the store. We added it to it, right? And we ran like that for a while. Last year, we did a major transformation of the store. And if you get there today, of course, the picture that I shared again, going back to that picture of the 5 years later, people, not even somebody, people come to the store and are like, wow, this place is supposed to be in Lekki, this is supposed to be in Ikoyi. I said, no, it is in Ikotun, and people are enjoying it. Why? Because the business itself has grown to that stage to be able to give that kind of ambience, that kind of, service to the people. So let the business grow. Don't just put money into what would eventually there are people that are saying that, oh, they will spend 500. We saw a store now. We saw a store at Allen. I said and my wife were driving past. We saw a store at Allen Junction. And we were like, what's this place? We got the number. And we realized that for us to just to pay the rent of that store alone, it's going to take like 120 million just to pay the rent. This is not to set it up. This is not to put the whole thing together. When we got the figure, we just laughed that it's not you and us. We are not interested.
Yeah, you have to cut your coat according to the cloth, not the size.
Yes.
That's a good.
Right?
Yeah.
So, to just to put a figure around this, just to paint a picture of a figure, 120 million, right, would almost get me like maybe 2 stores, or if I had small money to it, I may get 2 stores, somewhere. And guess what? I would also get the money, and I may probably be making at the same Allen store. So business, of this nature requires a whole lot of calculation, and we don't overdo. Don't overdo. Put structure in place. Make sure you have the structure. Make sure you are also visible. Make sure you are in a place where you are visible. Don't go and open store inside Agbelejika Street that nobody is seeing. Make sure you are visible. Make sure the ambience is right. Make sure the food is great.
Let me if you've asked me, let
me just round up that part with this, so I will not lose that line of thought. Let me tell you how confident I am with our food. Our store, where we started from, we didn't have AC there. We only had fans. When we're doing other stores, we started out other stores with having ACs and all. That same place that didn't have AC, people were coming there to eat every day. They would be sweating, the whole place would be hot, but they would still come. When we eventually, upscale the look and feel and turn it around and put AC everywhere, one day I walked into that place and I said to myself that people must have really loved our food to be coming in here before to come and eat. So it tells a lot about what you are giving. If you give the right value, people will always come around.
Thanks. So that's great. I had a question for you. If I want to start a new business, we hear location. Let's take Lagos, for instance. if I see that 2 million place in Lekki or Via or Ikoyi, or if I can take that my same 2 million and buy Yaba Moshi, I know it's not a straightforward answer, but what's your take on this? Do I just pull it all in, chase the players in Ikoyi, or do I do 2 or 3 in Yaba, Moshi, and all that? What's your take on this?
So, I don't get your 2 million. What do you mean by you have your 2 million?
I'm just basically asking, should I chase high value, high premium store, i.e. sell high prices, or should I really go for mass market? That's actually my question. In Lagos, for instance, what would you advise me if I come to you? I want to go to Ikoyi.
If you're going to be on the island, give them what they want. They like fancy. They like all the fancy food. They like all the continentals they have. They like all those things. And you also have to be strategic about the island. If you have crossed Agungi, don't go there. Come back. If you are within VI, Ikoyi, Lekki, and some part of Lekki, not Lekki of that side, though. Some part of Lekki. Do your confectionery or whatever you want to do it there. Do the high end. You can do the high end, food business there. But if you leave any of these axes, I would just advise you do your regular restaurant. Do you know some people here, if I say this, may agree with me. I think the number one selling restaurant in Lagos is Mega Chicken. Mega Chicken is not selling high-end anything. They are selling your Mega Chicken is not selling anything high-end. They're selling your regular food. They're selling your regular day-to-day.
Just mass market. Interesting. Very interesting. Hey, we lost Mr. Ife again. And Ife had indicated he would be dropping off at this time. I've invited him back. If he comes back, it will take maybe 1 or 2 so I can let him go. But he did indicate to me that he would drop off about this time. So if he cannot come back, then we'll start closing ceremonies. But that was an interesting conversation with him. Like I said, Amala is just a placeholder. I wanted to bring in a guy that has done the food business, right? So that we can learn this practical topic. We've had a question about supply chain. I can bring in a guy that works in a multinational, and he will tell you to have a computer that can do QR codes and you scan, and he will be correct. But most of the SMEs can't afford QR coding and scanning. But that guy is also correct. So I always like to bring folks like this that can come in and you can rub your mind against what he's doing. You can hear what he's saying and you know exactly that same thing that you are doing. Nigeria of today, the best way to invest really is to start a business. What I mean to invest is to make money to start a business. That's the best way to become, should we say, self-sufficient, to pay your expenses, to start a business. If you can't start a business, invest in one. Yeah, you dropped off. So we were just...
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. If I'm not sure how long it can take, I know I still have 1, 2, 3 people, 4 people that have not spoken, and that's it. I've got Big E, Ade, Obanichi, and Chidi. So let's start with Big E. Big E, real quick, go for it, sir.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mr. Kalu.
How you doing, sir? Go for it.
So, my question is just direct. I'm also in the food business, basically distribution. But I want to just find out, how do you actually manage your pricing when this government came in? I'm aware of a lot of food businesses that are done presently. A lot of food pricing actually changed. I bring in perishables from the north into Lagos. In fact, we're on hold right now because of the pricing and a lot of changes in that. But I want to know, how do you actually manage your pricing after 5 years? And yet, you're still having this huge number, like you mentioned, and people are still coming to buy. How do you manage the pricing around it? Thank you.
Great question.
Yeah, so I'm a very contented person. I'm doing business, I'm making money. I've seen my profits shrink right in my presence. And even as the profits were shrinking, we were still also trying to increase salaries here and there. What I think business owners do, and that is why it's for me, and from my own perspective, I think Mr. Kalule may know better, but I think businesses suffer more when you have gone into some sort of partnerships that could actually hurt the business. So, take for instance, there is a partnership on the business, and then everybody has agreed that we are sharing a 30 or a 40%, on sales. So, whatever the business is, if they make 1,000, they know that 400 naira is what they will share across the investors or whatever it is, and this kind of thing happens. Expenses are shot up to like 700, but because they are stuck to this 400, they will still want to take this 400 from the business, hoping that tomorrow they have to just increase the price of things. Let me tell you what has happened to me. Why me? I've also tried to maintain price control. I saw it. We started out this business selling ogufe. Ogufe is like the driving, product for Amala sales. Everybody likes Amala and ogufe. So we started the very first time we started with 400 naira, 5 years ago. Right. And from 400, before you know it, we're going, and it wasn't making sense anymore. We increased to 500. From 500, we went to 800. Now, between going from 500, remember that I said at the point we were killing, up to like 12 goats a day. When we went from 500 to 800, it drastically dropped from that 12 to about, 7, 8, we're struggling with 9, thereabouts. And so it dropped that way. We managed. Things were not okay again. We had to now move from 800 to 1,000. And it was on 1,000 for a very long time before this new government. No, it was even at 800 before this new government came. But as of today, we are selling for 2,000. And this 2,000 was a price that we have been on since last year. I'm telling you, what we have done is to look at some minor products that we can adjust the prices. So, for example, we're selling Bomo 200. We're like, okay, instead of making a buffet 2,500 or 3,000, let's make Bomo 300. And that margin can cover for XYZ. We're selling, beef for maybe 200. Let's make it 300. So all those things, these adjustments are what we're able to do. And thankfully, because we're able to control our business ourselves, we could make these adjustments, reduce our own, gross at the end of the day, but then still keep the business floating, right? But I can tell you, there is a place it will get to too. We won't have choice than to make amends, as regards the pricing. But we try to keep the pricing to like the best. So when we change our price, in fact, what we do is most times we make research and check all. Right now, there are places that are selling this same amala around us that are selling ogufe for 2,500. We know. We've known for like months, but we are still doing 2,000. Right? It's not extremely profitable, but at least we don't owe salaries. We are still getting money to buy fuel, and we're still getting a few things. But when it gets to where we cannot bear it anymore, and our customers too at that point would also understand that this is not just what we call, so we have to just bear a lot. I can't even deceive you. We are bearing a lot to sustain the business.
Yeah, the problem again is that when the costs go up, there's just so much you can pass on to the consumers. You have to eat a lot of it just to maintain market share.
Exactly.
We're hearing the same thing with the tariffs. When we hear tariffs in America, would you pass it on? But Americans have money. If you pass it on to Nigerians, how many can absorb it? So that's a big point there. So Biggie, thanks for that question. Let's get Ade. So we have Ade, then we have Chidalo, and then we have Okpan and Shia. Ade, real quick, go for it.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Thank you very much, Mr. Ife Takalu. For me, it's more of a contribution rather than a question, and it's regarding your supply chain. You mentioned that you're already considering, transforming into a central kind of pool, which is good. But a quick touch on that for me would be you could have a sort of dedicated list of suppliers that would always give you your raw material. So in that regard, there's sort of constant cash flow between yourself and for the suppliers. That's one. Two, you can negotiate with them to deliver at your stores instead of you going around to sort of pick those things up. So it gives you rest on logistics, and you can bargain properly. If you guys have a sort of MOU for supply for 1 year, 2 years, or 6 months and whatnot, that can be agreed on. Again, it helps you with cost overall at the end of the day. Then in terms of uniformity in ingredients, you get to have a sort of constant uniform product across board. So it's not like you've purchased your pepper at a particular supplier's place and another. So it helps with uniformity in terms of ingredient and again contact tracing. I know we are not really heavy on that yet in Nigeria in terms of tracing where your food is produced, your ingredients are produced, your ingredients are planted and all. But it helps you with that. You can ask those questions from your supplier to say, where do you get your maybe tatache from? Or do you plant it yourselves? Do you have a supplier? You would know the origin, expiry dates and whatnot. So yeah, real quick, that was just my own sort of contribution. Thank you.
I love that. Love that. All right, let's get is it Chidalo Waimo? Chidalo.
Hello. Good evening. Carlo, thank you for bringing me on. And it's just a quick question I have for Ife. How does he maintain consistency in taste between his stores?
Love that.
Like how does he ensure that you eating your Amala here is no different from the other stores Amala? Like they have so much different taste. Just like here, if you go to McDonald's, you eat the same McDonald's all over the world. And just another thing, just a contribution. If in the buying, in the supply chain process, it would be nicer if you just have a central warehouse with a buying team who their job is purchasing, and so everything comes to the warehouse. Then you have then everything comes to the warehouse. Then you have your stores make orders to that central warehouse. Then you can have a clear view of what is going in and what is coming out. But on the main question is, how do you maintain consistency of taste between each and all the stores? Thank you.
Great one, nice one.
Okay, so from Adi, what Adi's contributed, is actually kind of connected to what you're saying now. So, President, like I said in the past, we have people who supply us. We don't go to buy. We hardly go to buy stuffs. Most of the suppliers, they bring stuff to us. Even at that, individual purchase that they were doing at the stores, we have people that, because the money for all of these things is paid centrally. So even when you buy at your store, right, you send, the accounts to the central accountants, but we have, of course, the petty cash purchase that they can do at a particular level that it gets to. If it's above a particular figure, you have to request, from, the central accounts. So that's on one side. So yes, we kind of like do that. But coming to the taste, yes, we have recipe up to ewedu, up to begiri, up to the list of everything that is being prepared. There is recipe, and in fact, that is my wife's area of concentration, because she likes food. She's a good cook anyway. I'm enjoying the food already, So so there is a recipe for everything, and we try to make sure that they keep to the standards across board. and we even get the feedback. Let me also say that our jollof rice is, somebody was talking about it today. I've heard great testimonies about our jollof rice across stores, across different stores. People go there and say, "Oh, I ate your jollof rice," and I ate your jollof rice. So we're trying to get the feedback from it. So we have recipe for everything that is being produced from the kitchen, and we try to make sure that they keep to the standards.
So it's more or less for if the sauce is good, the output should be good. Oh, that helps.
Absolutely.
Gotcha. Okay, Fed, let's take our last guy here, Opanachi. Go ahead, sir. Thanks for hanging on.
Okay, good evening, Mr. Calvin.
Audio is kind of low. If you could speak up, would love it.
Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Go for it.
Okay, good evening, Mr. Calvin. Okay, what I want to ask, so from what he has said, it's basically a consistency of giving very great meal across all points, across all the stores. But is it, like what the other guy asked was that, is it the same meal that you eat? If I eat a meal, a soup in store one, if I go to store 7, will I have same taste? That's I'm just trying. That's what he's trying to ask. But then my own question is basically processes. How well do you look at making your processes more machines or more standard, so that the business will not be looked at as a dirty business? If you remember the other lady who said a lot of the persons were that people who did their own business, they left it, and it's not something that she cannot think of doing it, and even her own children, she cannot think of doing it, because there's this kind of stigma or something with doing that business. Look at, you see the food business in Nigeria, and you see the akara business and pap business. I've one day taken time, I've reached out to watch a lot of persons, and I see they make good money, and if this thing is standardized, or if they really do some little switches, it could be a great business. But then it's not over time. You just have one pots around. So what are the processes? At what point do you bring process to remove those things that would make it look dirty, and so that it could be a standard business across the board?
Thank you for that. Thank you.
Right. So we, in terms of, I don't think my business is dead too. To start with, our kitchen. In fact, you can go on Instagram, check out Amala official, and you'll see some of our kitchens. Where, like, my wife sometimes make contents from our kitchen, clean, and that's what we've done across the branches. There are maybe a few moments where they are, doing some stuff, and it may seem a bit, untidy, but we make sure that, in fact, the core, of our business are based on 3 things, which is clean environment, great taste, and exquisite customer service. And this, we remind ourselves over time, in fact, for all of our stores actually now, we have the core values placed there, so that people can also see that we are very conscious of these things, right? Like I said, if you come to our restaurant, and I mean, for example, we're getting feedback like, "Oh, this your restaurant should be in Ikoyi." You should know the kind of work that has been put into it, the kind of processes that we're getting. I remember somebody came to me. He went to one of our stores, and he was now talking to me about investing. And I asked him why. He said because when he got there for a place that has the name Amala, Ibadan on it, and he got the kind of customer service that he got that day. He felt that apparently there is somebody behind this business that knows what he or she is doing. So we've tried so much to, kind of keep the process clean and maintain a proper standard. We're not seeing ourselves as just selling Amala. We're seeing ourselves as we want. You see, my own imagination is that like here we're having a franchise of McDonald's. We're having franchise of Tasty Fried Chicken. We're having. I want to see franchise of Amala Ibadan, yes, and still retain the name Amala. Because that's what it is. I see the franchise in US, I see the franchise in UK, see it all across the world. And so we have to begin to do that now, to give it that look. I am not even boasting. This one is not even, I have a store at Idimu, I have a store at Alagbado, and I have a store at Ejigbo, NMPC Ejigbo. You see these three stores, I can bet you that there is no other Amala place, like the name is Amala something in this Lagos that is as fine as my store, as any of these three stores. That is how much of work we are putting into cleaning the process and making sure that things are done properly. So I kind of give customers a feel that they wouldn't get normally from places like that. So that's about that. As regards taste, yes, again, that is the reason why we have the recipe. If you keep the recipe, the right way, you get the same taste across board. And I can tell you, one of the things I do myself is to go around to just eat in any of the restaurants. I will just drive into any one of them. I will stand there like a regular customer. I've seen people talk about the business beside myself when I'm eating. Some of them very good reviews. Some of them that is not very good. I will just take it and go and make amends. I would enter the restaurant like every other customer, order for food, any of the food. I deliberately eat it. Of course, I eat Amala the most, but then I eat any of the food just to also, make sure that the taste is retained. And in all fairness, there are some days that is not, as exactly as it's meant to be. I will call the person in charge. I will call the manager. I will call the supervisors. This thing is not the way it's meant to be. Make amends. Talk to your kitchen guys. So, but for most of the time, the tastes are, almost the same thing. And yes, so finally, I will talk about the stigma. Because the name is Amala Ibadan. So my wife was in an executive class, of business owners recently. She kept talking about her own business. Oh, Amala Ibadan, blah 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 blah. And at some point, they now got to the visibility of the business. That how visible are your businesses? So they were checking what the business is online. Some with websites, some with just social media handles. And when they got to our own handle on Instagram, she told me that they were shocked. They were like, is this your restaurant? The way you're saying Amala Ibadan, it's not looking like maybe it's one booker like that. So we know that there is a stigma that comes with this thing, and it is unfortunately it is even still our own people that have this mindset about this thing. Oyibo will eat burger and make you feel like it is the best thing in the whole world, but it is giving them obesity. But they will make you look like, oh, if you don't eat burger, there is nothing else in this world. But we have a way to just look down on things. The way people look down on the business. In fact, there are sometimes I will come online and I will talk, and people will say Amala is Amala business. This Alamala. They will say a lot of things. But then it is also for the fact that, that they need to understand that there is more to this business. There is more to it. So I don't care about the stigma. We are doing business. God is helping us. We are making small change, and we are progressing. That is the most important thing for me. And the final. Okay, I think I've gotten the name of the software for the person.
She's still here.
Yes. It is ICG actually. Yes, ICG. That's what it's called.
Fantastic. It's been a great learning experience for everyone. My last question to you: are you thinking of listing? They have the Nigerian Stock Exchange has a small board, 50 million naira turnover for companies just like you that can come in a list? Is listing anywhere in your calendar the next, say, 5 years?
Listing.
Yeah, on the stock exchange.
Oh, on the stock exchange. Well, I don't know when we get there.
It's fantastic. Amala Index. I mean, think about it. They have something called the, what's it called? Olumide will help me out here. They have the board. Jesus H Christ. They have a board. It used to be called the second tier market. The second tier market now is I think it's the growth board. Yeah, the growth board for SMEs.
See, Carlo, I must say confidently that I'm not even scared of getting there. You know, and during this, because just like I said earlier, the Alagers that started this business, all they did was make money at a particular spot, and they were not thinking of expanding. They were not seeing how they can replicate the business. They don't even have the capacity to do that, right? Most times. So they kind of make money at a particular place. They remain at that spot. Sometimes they buy like the house next to them, or even the house where they rented for the shop, and then build a house there, and that's it for them. And then probably when they grow old and die and hand it over, send their children abroad, like that to my other sister that was, that came back from, so, and that's it. But you see, there is more to this business. There is more to this business. I want to pride myself, in years to come, to say I'm the one that made Amala a global product. I'm the one that took Amala from Nigeria to Ghana to South Africa to Kenya. That's what I want to do. And then move across the Mediterranean Sea and go to other parts of Europe. Nice. That's what I want to do with the business.
Fantastic. So
if we get to that stage and we're able to get listed on, the stock exchange, why not?
Fantastic.
Why not? McDonald's should be there. If McDonald's is there, if Kentucky, is there, if we can get there.
Yeah, I mean, look. If you want, I'll send you a link. Look at it. I think it's going to be fantastic for you folks to get in, and they've reduced the rates and the fees for you, and it will put you on the map. Like you said, you've just laid out a pathway for you. If you can get yourself listed and you become a multinational, you're the McDonald's of Amala, and not just Amala, but that food takes you there. So I wish you the very, very best. My regards to your wife. Thank you for doing this. I know we had talked. Thank you for doing this and for sharing. The key thing here is to share. Lots of folks I talk to have great businesses that are afraid of sharing what's making them tick. I'm not sure why. But you've been very, very gracious with your time, with your knowledge, and with your advice. And we do not take that for granted. So thank you, Mr. F. Any closing thoughts from you?
Thank you. Well, the world is a very wide space that we just need to take on one after the other. I'm very open to sharing knowledge, because there is nothing to it. Like, you would see that the place is opening here, Tantalizer is opening next to it, another restaurant is opening next to it, and then you are thinking because you're selling Amala and you don't want other people to open it. See, the sky is too wide for us to fly. If you want to go into this business, right, hit me up on Twitter. Yes. I can give you advice on what to do. I will use my money, drive my car, come to your store to come and check if it is the right place.
Wow.
I'm not collect money. The reality of it is that I cannot make all the money that this business can make. I can't alone. I can't.
Fantastic. I mean, take him up, guys. Take him up.
In Alimosho, I have 6 stores. I'm going to open the 7th one in Alimosho, right? And I'm talking of just one local government. How many local governments are there in Nigeria? Even in Lagos, how many do I want to open? I cannot own this world. If you feel like you want to go into this business, please do the right research, find the right place, get the right people. God will help you on that one, because that one is wahala. But you can actually do well with it if you get it right.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, sir. Hey, guys, this is going to be the end of our space. Of course, we're going to be back here 7 p.m. Next week talking something about money, personal finance, and of course, but next week I can give you who we're bringing in. We're bringing in the folks from Budget 8 won't talk about Nigerian budgets, all these street light things we're hearing about, what's going on, how can our budget be better for you guys, the guys that actually fund that budget your tax. So we're going to be here with them, and it should be very, very educative for us to learn as citizens and also as taxpayers. So just let me end by just saying, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And all for you guys that have listened in, give us some questions. Yes, I do appreciate all of you guys for hanging in here every week with us. So now, let me let you guys go rest. Get ready for tomorrow. Monday is going to be a great week. You guys have fun and take care of yourselves. Thank you so much, and bye. Thank you, sir.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.